After you created all your racks, it's time to add them to the show. Learn in the next minutes how to do that.
After you create all the needed racks, it is time to rack your show. You can do that in different ways, manually, per position, or for the complete show. To see some of the possibilities, click on the Rack menu. Here you can see that you can add racks for the complete show, add racks only for selected positions, and some other possibilities like adding racks for only selected events or unracked events. But before we start racking the complete show, we must make sure that we switch to the right effects catalog that contains the racks we want to use. In this case we use the generic effects, because some standard mortar racks are implemented here that are accessible in the case that you didn't create your own racks by now. When Finale is doing the rack layout, only racks from the current effect catalog will be used. To do the racking, click Racks. Add racks for show. A summary will show you if it was possible to rack the show or if there are still devices left without any racks. In our demo show, we see that only one device is not racked. Now we have the following possibilities. We can click Cancel. In this case Finale is selecting all events in the script window without a rack. So, if we click the Cancel button here, we can check the script window to see which effects are not racked. Let's rack the show again, so click Racks. Add racks for show. The dialog is still the same, because we didn't change anything, but this time we click on the Details button. Here we see some concrete hints about the effects that are not racked and possible reasons why this could be not done. It is a kind of checklist. But sometimes it is okay if devices are not racked, it is not a requirement to fulfill. So, we can go on clicking the Continue button here. Next dialog that is now shown is a summary of the used racks and the number of devices that are still unracked. Use this dialog to check if the right racks were used. After clicking on the Continue button, Finale now jumps to the rack window, which would be also accessible from Windows menu. It shows all positions on the field from a bird's-eye view. To have a deeper look at the racking of one position, you can choose Positions in the upper left. We see some racks on the position. If a rack is tilt, you see the angle at the top of the rack. Now you can select any of these racks by just clicking on it. While pressing the left mouse button you can move the rack by moving the mouse in the wanted direction. When a rack is selected you also see 3 blue controls. When you click on the blue circle and move the mouse while pressing the left mouse button you are able to turn the rack in any direction. With the other 2 points you can tilt the rack to both sides. With the other point you can increment the height of each hand so that the rack is tented. You also can delete the rack by simply pressing the Delete key on the keyboard. You can add manually racks with drag and drop from the palette. If you only want to use your own defined racks you can hide the generic effects, or even all racks if you have a rack catalog activated from a supplier or you have defined own racks. If you move a rack nearer to another one so that is tightened to the other rack, we are talking about a rack cluster. Rack clusters can be important for addressing, because it is possible to assign racks or rails to rack clusters. Speaking about addresses, you see that all tubes are empty and not assigned with an effect or address. That is absolute okay, because the general workflow is script the show, create the rack layout for the show, and then address the show. The reason for this is simple. Depending on the rack layout you can assign modules or slats to racks or rack clusters, and you can prevent chains from splitting across racks with addressing constraints. Also, a finished rack layout can be copied and used as basis for a similar show. Let's address the show to see what will happen then. Now, The racks are assigned to effects with the used pin numbers shown in the rack tubes. The module numbers are shown at the bottom of the racks. If a rack is filled with effects assigned to different modules, all numbers were shown at the bottom. The different module numbers are shown in different colors, so you can see to which module a pin in a rack belongs, because it is used the color of the related module. If you hover over such a pin number in a rack, the effect is shown as tooltip. Before we start to change the assignment of modules and pins to racks manually, let us copy a rack. Mark the 5-inch rack and press Ctrl+C to copy it, then press Ctrl+V to paste it again. Move the new rack to the left of the other rack. Now click on the Edit Pins link at the left bottom. Move the mouse over the modules now. Finale shows you now all wirings to the effects in the different racks. You will notice that one module has a pin number shown in red. That is our not assigned 175mm shell, because there is no racks defined for this size. One great feature of Finale is that you can now move the effects between the different racks. Click on an effect in a rack and press the left mouse button. Move the mouse now to the new rack where you want to place the effect and drag the effect on the tube in another rack. When the effect fits the tube and the angles are right, the pin of the effect is drawn in the color of the related module. But let's see what will happen when we make a mistake. Let's move one of the 3-inch effects to a 4-inch rack. The effect will be drawn in red to signalize that there is an error. The same will happen if you move a straight 3-inch shot to an 3-inch shot that is angled. Also, if you turf and rack, the pins will turn to red because the angles will now be in the fulls direction. You see, Finale allows you in the Pro version to optimize the rack layout for your needs in a visual way with a drag-and-drop interface. The Hobbyist tools allow you to create your own racks so the counts correctly reflect the numbers of tubes in your racks and any special configurations you might have of single-shot racks. Based on the counts, you can print reports listing the total racks required for the show, and the racks required per position. The process for generating rack counts is the same as the full rack layout process of the Pro version, except without doing any visual layout and without taking racks into consideration for addressing.